Good evening, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with a overnight update, tropical update for Monday, August 30th, 2010. Our latest on Hurricane Earl, now a Category 4 hurricane, maximum sustained winds of 135. As of the 9 p.m. advisory, we have pressure down to 938 millibars. And it is about 110 miles to the north-northeast of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I'll show you that on the radar, a nice radar shot here in a second. So we're going to have that west-northwest motion, and then tomorrow we'll start hooking to the northwest here. Earl will move past to the east of the Turks and Caicos. You can see these tropical storm warnings out for them, and then tropical storm watches farther west in the Bahamas here. They should experience some tropical storm force winds as the hurricane passes to its east. Earl may try to make a run at Category 5 status. I don't think it's going to make it. I'd say we might peak out at about 145, possibly 150. We'll have to see. Right in here to the east of the Bahamas is where it's going to peak out. Should stay up to about a Category 3 as it passes to the east of the southeast coast. And then as it moves to the north, we're going to be experiencing some southwesterly shear as that trough starts impeding on Earl, and also the waters get progressively cooler up here. So, I mean, if this does make it to Canada, we'll probably be looking at about a Category 1 storm by the time it reaches Nova Scotia. And again, that's still my biggest threat is for New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. All in this area here might be catching the brunt of this system. Right now, not much change in the models today. Not much change in the National Hurricane Center forecast cone or track. About the same. I think this is just going to skirt the East Coast. Looking at some things at some of the latest models, we might start trending a little farther east, which, boy, that would be great news, wouldn't it? To really keep this thing off the East Coast. But still, we see the cone here. Will this cone shift east at the 11 o'clock advisory? It might shift a little east. The National Hurricane Center might nudge it a little east, or they might stay about the same. We'll have to see. But we still have to be on our guard, especially Outer Banks of North Carolina, and then especially on our guard here across southeastern New England, because they could catch the fringes here of Hurricane Earl. So again, probably eastern Long Island, Rhode Island, southeastern Massachusetts, and then eastern Maryland, and then of course Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. And again, Hurricane Earl will be moving rather quickly here through the Friday, Saturday time frame, and it will slowly weaken from probably down from about a Category 2 hurricane out in this area, then to a Category 1. So we're not going to see a major hurricane rolling across the northeast. That's not going to happen. It'll slowly weaken. Again, our main effects, if this path does happen right off the coast, will of course be coastal effects, beach erosion, big beach erosion. Waves, I'll show you tomorrow what kind of waves we should expect here along the southeast coast too. Could be some big surf here, probably by later tomorrow and Wednesday. We should see some awesome surf here. And again, but beach erosion, coastal flooding, that could be a big concern here as Earl moves up. As far as winds, we just don't know that right now. If this stays off the coast, we'll be on the weaker western side, and the winds won't be as much of a factor. So, but again, we'll have to see. We'll be fine-tuning this forecast tomorrow. And hopefully I could give you guys a better idea if any effects along the coast here, and will Earl pass closer to the coast. Right now my thinking is it stays just offshore, and this could trend a little farther east, which would be good news. But again, heads up for our Canadian friends. Alright, here we go. Here's the latest satellite view here on Earl. Beautiful, well-developed hurricane. Really nothing to say about this. It's just that from her perspective, it's just awesome looking. Outflow beautiful. I mean, nothing really impeding this system right now. And you can see, again, as I forecasted a few days ago, Puerto Rico got very lucky with this system as they just missed the core of this hurricane. And good news for them. Even the Virgin Islands, I think they're escaping as the core just passed to the north for them as well. So good news in this area here. Again, still some coastal flooding. I think I've seen some peak winds in the northeastern section of Puerto Rico. We're getting some tropical storm force gusts now. St. Thomas just had a gust of 58 miles an hour in the Virgin Islands. So a lot of tropical storm force winds, and of course some heavy rain bands are there. And there'll be some coastal flooding, especially on the north-facing beaches. And here's that current radar, and there's the eye right there. This is where those strongest winds are. And we have another core of some heavier winds, probably some hurricane force gusts here. And then these are the tropical storm force winds. As you can see, these little heavier rain bands starting to get into the eastern end of Puerto Rico here, and then St. Thomas as well. So this is where all the tropical storm force winds are. And then close to hurricane, probably some hurricane force winds in here. And then here's the core. So the core will stay to the north of Puerto Rico. And we'll have some heavy rain bands, especially on the eastern end of the island here, with some flood warnings here for that area. And then here we go. And you can almost paint the picture where this is going. Just kind of follow this. I'll put the forecast points on here real quick here. So this is where we're going to be going with this system. This is actually Fiona's points, so disregard these. But you can see we're going right here. And you almost could paint the line here. If you see where this dividing line is, where there's a ridge here protecting Florida. And it's going to go right along this other ridge that's steering it, subtropical ridge out here. It's going to steer it right just like this. And then we're going to wait for our trough, which is right here. This is going to be moving through the Great Lakes, which is going to give it this kick. The reason why I was a little concerned earlier today, and I'm still a little concerned, you can see this trough left behind by Danielle. It's kind of put a stop in everything. We have high pressure here, another high here, then this little bit of trough here, and it's kind of held everything back. I thought this, and especially this little wave here along this right in here, I really thought this could hold back this trough. Still can hold it back a little bit. That's why I'm still, and then we'll put tropical storm points here, and you could see still a little concerned about how close this does get. Still have to fine-tune this carefully, so we'll have to see how things go the next 24 hours. And here's the shear again, anticyclone near Earl now. This anticyclone will kind of follow Earl right into this path right in here. And once Earl lifts north, as that trough moves west, we'll start getting more southwesterly shear like this. But we should have anticyclone over Earl for the next couple days, and that'll allow for this intensity to continue, especially with warmer waters. Latest model runs, these were the early run models. Basically have held the same today. We've seen the BAM runs through the day today really make this quick right turn here. These are all the different BAM models. We'll have to see about that. That could be a trend here. We'll have to see if the global models follow that trend at 0Z and then 12Z tomorrow. But we've seen this quick bend out to sea, and boy, that would just be great news for the East Coast if this happens. So we'll have to watch for that. But again, most of the models still off the coast, and you can see them zeroing in on our friends up in Canada here. Intensity models, and this just shows to show you how that shear and cooler waters are going to affect the system. You can see everybody basically in that category 3 range, and then in about 96 hours, boom, here it goes, as it'll start to weaken as it moves north. And again, more models. This is showing you, now this has the 12Z HWRF, but it has the GFDL at 18Z, and this is GFDL, which I'll show you in a minute, which is pretty close to the coast, and so is the HWRF. They're actually pretty far west. And again, you see the UK Met model here, and the BAM models, they've all decided to make this hard right turn. So now we'll have to see if the rest of the models follow suit in that at 0Z and 12Z. It's going to be interesting to see, and that could be a trend we could see. We'll have to watch for that, and I'm really hoping for that, because that could really just put the East Coast out of the picture. But again, too early to call on that right now. We'll have to see. And here's the GFDL, and as you can see, it brings it very close to the Outer Banks, very close to the Cape, and then brings it in Nova Scotia right there. Boom. As a Category 1 hurricane. HWRF, just about the same thing. A little farther west, actually brings it more closer to New Brunswick and eastern Maine. So this is a little farther west. These are all 18Z runs. And again, as you can see, it weakens it. Once it gets up to here, it's down to a Category 1 hurricane as well. And that should be the trend with this system as it moves north. The latest GFS model at 18Z, again, this is I'm telling you, the GFS has been very consistent. Again, just off the coast, and then bang, it skims Nova Scotia and then into Newfoundland. Very consistent GFS, hasn't really changed much the last couple days. That path would be better news than that HWRF or GFDL path. Kind of keeps it a little farther off the coast. And Euro model, here we are again, very consistent again, hasn't really changed much. Bringing Earl again right along the coast and then basically skimming near the Cape and then into New Brunswick, Nova Scotia area. And there's Fiona, the only model right now showing Fiona moving west. Gets caught up and then boom west. I'll show you Fiona in a minute here. And here's Fiona. Welcome Tropical Storm Fiona. A pretty pitiful looking tropical storm. I'll show you that in a minute. Moving west at 24. They had a research flight out here, dropped a few drop sondes in there, and they found tropical storm force winds kind of far away from the center. I guess they decided it looked organized enough, so now we have Tropical Storm Fiona. Doesn't look like much now. Here's the official forecast track following Earl. Again, northeastern leewards are in the cone. They have to watch it. Keeps it pretty weak as it could get pretty close to Earl and Earl's outflow. So I don't know. I'm not sure about this system really strengthening much. Again, we'll have to see down the road. But my thinking is that it follows Earl and pretty much moves out to sea as well. But again, we'll have to watch it in here. If it kind of slows down a bit and Earl speeds up, it might get left behind and then maybe push westward and strengthen. That's what the Euro's showing, but we'll have to see. Long way off. We'll have to check that out down the road. And here's Fiona right there. And you can see really, pretty poorly organized system to say the least. It's still fighting a lot of dry air. And I don't know, where's the center? It's hard to find, huh? So we'll see what that does down the road for anything else there. And then off the coast of Africa, here's our next system. How about Invest 98L? Yeah, probably by tomorrow. Maybe our next tropical depression. And of course, a few more lining up off the coast of Africa as it continues to stay busy. We might be tracking a couple more storms later this week into the weekend. That's it for now. I will have another update on Hurricane Earl and Tropical Storm Fiona tomorrow morning for you guys. Have a good night.